back to another video on the Dino Gaming YouTube channel, and today we are back in something that we haven't done in a while. When I mean in a while, I mean like in 2-3 months. When did we finish the Minecraft Titanic, this glorious legend of a ship? 2-3 months ago, right? Yeah, that was it. Iceberg, right ahead. I love this ship. It's just so beautiful. It's something that I put lots of work into. I put lots of hard work into it. It's something that I have memories, that I can have memories with. And something that I'll never forget. Oh, do 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 do. Something that I wanted to do today was explain. So today's video is going to be something like explaining what happened the night of the Titanic. Yeah, and I'll try my best to act it for you guys in Minecraft. So yeah, it'd be a little hard, but yeah. And everyone's point of view, I can only, with parts where there's multiple people, I can only explain it to you like very with detail, because there's only one person on this server right now, and that's me. See, Dino Gaming. That's it. Yeah, so the day of the Titanic. What the heck is this? First of all. Oh, a room portal. It's in here. I'm sitting. Don't need it. Goodbye. I didn't even notice that. Oh, and one more fact about this iceberg is it's hollow. And not all the icebergs are hollow. This was an original iceberg that I was going to make, but it ended up being too small, so yeah. Oh, a real fact about real icebergs is icebergs like this, like if this was the iceberg, you'd only see 10% of it, like actually, because the rest, not of the 90%, would be underwater. And that's huge. Like, the iceberg that hit the Titanic was actually up to, like, probably here, like to the start of the funnel. It probably, like what I said, to the start of the funnel. But that's only 10% of it. It's actually, there's 90%, and it can go up to depths where, like, the underwater depths to, like, where people, where some fish live that can't go high. Like, the depths of, I'm just trying to explain it, like, very weirdly here. What is this? Oh, okay. It's so deep. Like, this is only 10% of it. It would be deep. Like, say in a real world, and this was actually the height of the Titanic's iceberg. in a real world, the iceberg, this iceberg, if this was old Minecraft, the bottom of this would go through bedrock. That's how deep it would be. And that's how, to show size, that's a lot, like huge. You know, length in terms wise, if this was only 10%, no, actually, that's a good reason. This iceberg here is probably this and a half underwater, if it was real. It's just hollow. You saw that there was nothing under there. If it was real life, it'd probably be this and a half. In lengthwise. So, hey, it's night. Perfect. Okay, so I'm just going to take on from where the Titanic hit the iceberg and stuff because I don't want to explain everything. But yeah, so at 11:40 p.m., what's his name? Frederick Fleet was talking to the other lookout in the lookout's post about I don't know, and I don't know his name. Like seriously, I need to figure out what his name is. I was talking to him, and he was like, "I can smell ice," and this is the words of a documentary that documented Frederick Fleet. He's like, and that's why it was in the Titanic movie. He's like, oh, I smell ice, you know, and stuff like that. And the other man was like, no, you don't. Stop being silly. And like seconds later, not even a minute, Frederick Lee and whoever the other guy is, sees the iceberg, and they start to panic, but they take a deep breath, calm down. What they do is they ring the bell 3 times, which then, before calling, like, happens, Murdoch, in the movie, the movie is actually really similar to what pretty sure happened, although Murdoch didn't kill himself, like, seriously though. But also the movie has lots of untitled facts, and in real life, like what the movie, the panicking was only like 5% of what it actually was. Like it was probably way more insane. Okay, well, let's continue. Frederick Fleet rang the bell 3 times. It notified everyone, everyone who was at the bridge. This is the bridge. Steersman alerted, looking out the windows, and whoever was out here was alerted and looked ahead to see, which then, after he alerted everyone, he called in to the bridge. He's calling in, and someone comes to answer it. I don't know if it was Murdoch or anything, or who answered it, but he's like, Frederick Fleet says, hello, says, is there anyone, Frederick Fleet says, is there anyone there? And whoever picked up and says, yes, what is it? Frederick Fleet obviously said the most iconic thing in the movie, iceberg right ahead, which, yeah, obviously then notifies him. He goes outside to tell Murdoch, which was standing out here, but Murdoch already sees the iceberg, and they both tell the steersman to turn hard to starboard, which hard to starboard means to put the helm is the steering wheel, put the helm all the way to the right side, means basically turn right. And hard to port, the other word, it means put the helm all the way to the left side, so turn left. So they said hard to starboard, which means to turn right, but the steersman did the opposite thing, which then he steered it all the way. Once he steered it all the way, he said, the helm is hot over, which means it's all the way over and it can't go anymore. Once that's done, might as well just turn this off for static. After Mr. Murdoch and whatever the other guy was doing, Mr. Murdoch goes here, rings the boiler rooms and the engine room. Now, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm down here now. So now when the message was sent to the engine room and the boiler room, once the engine room got the message, they signaled back to the bridge that we got the orders and we're on it. So the orders that were given was stop and reverse. So what they had to do was they had to turn off all the pressure. So someone up here would be doing turning off the pressure and keep on doing this. So the pressure would be turning off. And then once the pressure's mainly down, they'd switch it to reverse. And then someone would be putting the pressure all the way, cranking it up high to reverse as quickly as they could. And then the pressure is in here. Everything's connected. It'd be reversing. And then this here is creating more pressure. There's nothing here. Where's the redstone? This is creating more pressure, so they'd have their things for pressure and all of that, and then it'd be rotating it backwards. And then once the message is sent to one of the boiler rooms, it'd be sent to all the boiler rooms. They'd signal back saying, okay, we're on the job. What the boiler rooms were told was to fire it up all they got. So like put as much coal in as possible and make sure it's like on fire, and then close all the hatches to make sure that water like doesn't get in. Not specifically it was that message, but it was basically like fire it up and close the hatches. So those were those orders. And then we come all the way back up here. I'll have to go through this again. Hey, caramba. Okay, we're here. We go up this grand staircase. Now basically everything's happening and people are getting freaked out because they're scared that the Titanic is going to hit an iceberg. And for the longest time, that's what everyone thought, because the Titanic wasn't turning quick enough. And it scared everyone, because right till about here, like this is actually a good length, right up until here, it's actually when it started to actually turn, but it was turning left instead of right because because of the steersman, when it was supposed to be turning right instead of left. So back here, what was gonna happen, this is shown in the movie. Back here are the three dang propellers. So all three of them move. See? Okay, so when you want to turn it left, this one stops working, and these two are the ones that are working, and the rudder moves so it can turn left and stuff. and when you want to turn it right, the one on the far right stops, and these two are the ones that are propelling it right. So what they did was they turned it left, so this thing stopped. These two were the ones, but also when you reverse the engines, the main one shuts down. So basically it was only this one that was spinning, and with less power, and also it was spinning the wrong way because it had to go backwards. When it was going forwards would mean it would be going this way. Going backwards would mean it would be going this way. Same for all of them. So since it was going backwards and it was the only one working, since it was going backwards and it was the only one actually like working because of the turning, this had to do the job all alone, and that's why it didn't start turning until that time. Now this is this is a big problem because with not enough propelling force, it could crash, obviously, like it did. Now, there's many theories that say if the steersman did his job correctly and turned it to the right side, it would have survived. But also, there was even more theories and even more logic to prove that if you just hit the iceberg straight on, the Titanic would stop without causing too much damage to prevail it from sinking. So that's that. So now it's 3 minutes. Now it's a minute. Now it's like seconds after the engine room did everything, and they did everything. So yeah. So it's seconds after it started to move. Everyone was like just biting their nails off in nervousness. A couple seconds later, it turns all the way to the left and hits the side. The iceberg hits the side of the Titanic, and this horrible screeching noise, which, even though I still watch the movie and I know what comes, it's just the screeching noise. I have sensitive ears. Yeah, so there's that. So after that, it hit the iceberg. William McMaster Murdoch, Officer Murdoch, came in here to close the watertight doors. This is the watertight doors. So when you hit this, when the lights are on, means all the watertight doors are closing. So they flashed a little bit and then they turned on. When they're all on, means the watertight doors have closed. The watertight doors are the doors in the engine room, that and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's all that. Everyone inside is feeling waviness moving around, and they can obviously hear the horrible screeching noise. Mr. Murdoch has closed the watertight doors. By that time, the iceberg is already out of sight. And the iceberg didn't just leave one big hole, it left about 6 tiny, like, holes. Not tiny, like, one hole would be like from here to here. In real life, that's pretty big. Obviously, it let in a good amount of water. So about 5-10 minutes later, everyone is gathered, all the staff are gathered in a meeting room, and Officer Andrews, Mr. Andrews, which is the designer of the ship, he knows most about the ship. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So where was I? Yeah, so they all gathered in a room, and Mr. Andrews got information that there was 5 bulkhead compartments, which is 4 boiler rooms, and I'm pretty sure that the storage room, which is like one of the biggest compartments, was the ones that were damaged. And so the Titanic can stay afloat with 4 watertight compartments breached, but not 5. So he was saying that it'll spill through the bulkheads and push the water back, and back, just flooding the whole ship until it's under. So by his calculations, he said that they had an hour to the most. So they had to evacuate people insanely fast. An hour and 2 isn't enough. Like with also plus the amount of lifeboats that they had to like do that to save people from Titanic. They didn't have enough lifeboats, only enough by half, and they didn't even save half. So yeah, out of 2,000, and Mr. Andrews said that they would go down by the head, and there would be no stopping it, that they're sinking. So they pretty much accepted their fate and had to come up with a plan. So Mr. Edward John Smith, the captain, asked William McMaster Murdoch, Mr. Murdoch, I asked him how much life form was on board, like how much people were on board, and the answer was 2,200. So John Smith was trying to think of a plan to save enough of them from death. And the decision he made was women and children first. So yeah, so women and children. So this is probably like 15 minutes after they told everyone to put their life belts on, life jacket, and come outside. But they realized that the boats weren't ready and stuff, and they had to prepare them to be ready. So they brought everyone back inside, and everyone was panicking in fear because they didn't know what was happening. Most of the people there didn't even know that they were sinking. They were sinking. Most people thought it was a false alarm. Lots of confusion went on during the time. So the crew just had to do what they could to make no panic and as less confusion as possible. So they readied the lifeboats, brought everyone outside, and started to put everyone into lifeboats, and that would take 5 minutes, that would take like a good 5-10 minutes just to put everyone inside, and they weren't even filled to the max. One lifeboat was tested to hold 70 people, 17 men, and they weren't even filled to like 50. So that was a problem. They were already releasing less people, so there was already a problem. And for it to go down all this length into the water, and it wasn't like automatic. They had ropes holding it and releasing it to let the boats go down. And that, so they wouldn't even fall, took like all of your strength away. I mean, it was attached to like 3 pulley systems to make it easier, like around the wire and stuff, to make it easier for the people who were holding it, but it would still be a lot of weight just to do that, and to make sure that they don't like fall down completely, and so they're even on each side, so they don't. That takes 11 minutes. It took them like 11 minutes just to get in the water. In total, it was probably like 22 minutes for one lifeboat to be lowered, and there was probably like 40 staff and 40 crew, and they probably weren't even all working on it. It was probably only like 10, 15 people that were actually working on releasing the lifeboats, which was also another problem. And the panic they had to, everyone was out on deck. They were getting swarmed as people were getting into the lifeboats. The people were pushing it to the point where the crew had to bring out their guns and settle it. I think I think 5 people were shot for being out of control on board when they were trying to settle it down. 5 people. I think one person, Mr. Murdoch, shot one of those 5, and I don't know about the rest. In the movie, that at the point where Mr. Murdoch shoots one of them, 2 people actually in the movie. I think in real life he only shoots one person. He shoots himself and kills himself and falls in the water. In real life, this actually doesn't happen. He goes down with the ship, or as told, because the 3 men. So there was only 3 men working on it. Mr. Murdoch, which were helping load in people into the boat, and commanding the 2 people on the sides that were holding the pulley system to release the boat, and he was telling them to go steady and like how fast to go and stuff like that. They were there with him the whole time, and I'm pretty sure all the people that were helping with the lifeboats and stuff all went down with the ship. Murdoch, I think, released 5 lifeboats in total. He didn't release a fair amount. I think there was about 20 on board. How much are on board my ship? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 plus 6. There's 12. 12 on my boat. Not even enough. And out of 2,200 people, they were able to save 700 and 1,500 people had went into the sea, the Titanic, or 5 of them were shot, yeah. So yeah, with everything that happened, the ship, so earlier before this, John Smith told the people who talked to everybody here, told them to send the SOS signal and tell them the coordinates. He told the people who send the SOS signal the coordinates to tell to the other ships. Only one ship could make it, and they were 4 hours away, which was the RMS Carpathia. The RMS Carpathia, I think it was the RMS Carpathia, pretty sure. They didn't have that much time. So yeah, so after the Titanic went underwater, the boat that all the lifeboats went to was the RMS Carpathia, which then lifted everyone out of the lifeboats into the ship and took well care of them. Oh yeah, I actually have these extra 2, so I have 14 lifeboats on the ship. So so this is earlier before the RMS Carpathia. Once the bow went under and the ship went up to probably the bridge, Captain Edward John Smith this is a scene from the movie. Captain Edward John Smith came into the bridge, closed the door, and that's where he was last seen by the crew and other members. Now at this time, crew were firing flares, which these are just fireworks. Pretend they're flares. And to send SOSs to anybody that was out there that could help, like any ships that weren't receiving the SOS signal, that they could, if they could come and help and everything. So after all that, once people were in the water, one lifeboat came back to see if anyone was alive in the water that they could rescue. Only 3 people were saved out of the water from everyone there, and they spotted at least 200 bodies other than the 3 people that were saved in lifeboats, which is extremely sad and something I'm about to cry about. I've always cried whenever I watch the movie or anything. So that's the story of Titanic on the day it sank, and that's the best detail I could give it to you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Oh, I'm crying now. One sad but true fact that happened on the Titanic is the band that was on the Titanic was seen playing on the Titanic until the waterline hit their waist. They were seen playing on the music to calm everyone down until water hit, until they couldn't play anymore, and they died and drowned in the water. And some people say that it was some survivors of the Titanic saying that it was so peaceful and so sad that they just played going down with the ship. And just thinking of it makes me want to cry, which I am crying right now. Oh, before I cry, guys, please hit the like button, subscribe. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm sad. I hope you guys enjoyed learning a fact or 2 that you might have not known about the Titanic, or if you've never watched the movie. Guys, just hope that something like the Titanic never happens to you, or never happens again. Never happening again would be just great. So have a great day, and have a blessed day, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.